Let's talk about Mama June's recent weight loss reveal. She lost 300 pounds. It's amazing, that's great, but that's not the part of the story that we're gonna focus on. We're gonna talk about the fact that many people, have they forgotten that she was complicit in her daughter's molestation? Maybe they've forgiven her. There's a lot of layers to that story that we will delve into. But first, let's take a look at her before and after. She does look great. So this is her before. She got gastric bypass surgery. She also adopted a really great diet and also started working out. And then she did $75,000 worth of plastic surgeries to help with the loose skin and things like that. So now, and this is all documented on her new TV show, and a lot of people, I'm sure you've seen it all over social media, are celebrating her again, right? They're saying that she looks fantastic, they want more of her, and it's kind of like this all new Mama June. If you remember, that show was canceled. Back in the early 2000s, she was dating Mark McDaniel. Mark McDaniel, he went to prison for molesting her daughter, Anna. You may know her as Chickadee. So Anna, it's such a sad story, and I interviewed Anna when I was on Dr. Drew and at HLN. I interviewed Mama June, I interviewed the family in regard to this, and it really destroyed their family. And still to this day, even though they've mended some fences, it's still underlying. And what happened with Anna is when she was really young, 8 years old, back in 2002, she was molested. And if you read the court documents, it's bad. I mean, all molestation is bad, but it's bad. It's like urinating on her. It's so sad. And so Mark McDaniel, he did admit to it because she told the teacher. She didn't feel comfortable telling her mom. She did tell her mom after the fact and somewhat during, but her mom kind of dismissed it. And Mama June dismissed it, didn't believe her, and so the teacher got involved and he did get arrested. He went to jail for 10 years. Fast forward, he comes out of jail, and Mama June, this was recently, you may remember in the news, and this is what led to the cancellation of the show, he gets out of jail and Mama June is seeing him again. She always stated to the media that she never was seeing him, but there was a lot of pictures surfaced that he was hanging out with Mama June and Honey Boo Boo. Now, according to Anna, Honey Boo Boo was present to some of those molestations. Honey Boo Boo was young, she was about 3 years old at the time. And Anna, she brought it to the media because she did not want Honey Boo Boo around her molester. And so it became this big issue the last couple of years, and it took about a year for Honey Boo Boo, for Mama June to finally apologize through the media to her daughter, and she did it through the media. Now, it took her over a decade to actually say that apology because according to Anna and Mama June, she never acknowledged it. Never acknowledged that her daughter was molested and kind of swept it under the rug. So now here we are celebrating Mama June once again. And so do you think people have forgotten? Do you think they've forgiven her because she did apologize? Or do you think people just don't care and they're just swept up by all this newness of seeing this makeover happen and they want to be a part of it?
It's exactly that, Sam. It's exactly that because this show premiered to 2.4 million viewers on WeTV, and that's on WeTV. That's not even a flagship cable network. 10 years ago, that would have been a flop. In 2017, that's a slam hit, that's a smash. So I think that's exactly it. People are so obsessed with transformations, and someone who was obese, is that okay? Is that safe to say she was obese, you guys?
She was morbidly obese.
Now she's svelte. I mean, I still don't think she's attractive. I'm not impressed by this because of all the things she had to do to lose the weight, gastric bypass, which I think, for people who have gastric bypass, that's an emotional thing for them. My aunt had gastric bypass. I saw her transformation, everything she had to do, and she didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to become a new person. And she still suffers psychologically she still sees herself as an overweight person. So I think that the media we're vacuous to a degree because, again, how could we sweep under the rug the molestation of a child? I mean, you were getting emotional talking about this because-
I remember the court documents.
Right, I mean,
well, I'll tell you why we can sweep it under the rug, because there's a before picture and then we get to see an after picture.
But is it a temporary fix though?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm saying that as a joke. Cause like that, but that's what it is. In television, there is such power to a before and after picture. What the hell's the rest of the show gonna be about? It's gonna be about hanging out with these people again, who I gotta admit were super entertaining. But I do think it's the cynical part of me says like WeTV just looked around and said, is the heat off on Mama June and Honey Boo Boo? okay, let's bring it back. We're ready for a comeback. And it's this weird eternal struggle in America over like justice, like how can I disrespect an apology and loving a comeback?
Sam, I'll start in a minute, Grace. I just want to ask, is she able to talk about this case on the show? Because I know sometimes things are sealed, you can't speak about them after the fact.
I don't know, that's interesting. I know that when we spoke, we were able to speak to Mama June about it a couple years ago. We were able to speak to Anna about it, and we were really able to dive in. And some things came out about, and I can't go into detail, but with Mama June's past, and it doesn't excuse it, but it allows you to understand that when some people deal with trauma as a child, sometimes that gets there's like this vicious cycle that continues to happen. And so Mama June has a lot of trauma that she deals with too, again, not to excuse it, and Anna has been the victim of all that, right? And Anna has, to some degree, even like when we were interviewing Anna and she was pissed at her mom and she still hadn't gotten an apology from her mom, and her mom was lying to her saying, Mark's not back in my life. He's out of jail, but he's not back in my life. And then pictures would surface where she was back hanging out with her daughter's molester with her little sister there, which is scary because I'm sorry. I mean, who's to say that he all of a sudden came out of jail 10 years later and is not going to molest again? And unfortunately, when it comes to molesters, there's a high recidivism rate, very high recidivism rate. But really quickly to answer your question, I do know that Anna has, and maybe this has helped the public, whether it's forgotten or forgiven Mama June. Anna has, in so many words, been present around her mom again, and maybe she's a part of this series and has forgiven her mom, but she's also said that the only way for her to do that is her mom likes to sweep things under the rugs because it's easier for her. So she just does that too to keep at peace with her mom. So maybe the presence of Anna almost being with her mom again has allowed people to think that everything's fine again. I don't know.
It's just
Grace, let's get Grace really quick in the mix.
I mean, I hear a lot of what you guys are saying. I think that you have a really interesting point about the before and after. I think that that does have a really powerful impact on what we want to see. And then I also think that you make some good points too, Sam, about forgiveness and where is our line for that. This is a really troubling story for me. It's kind of like it feels strange to weigh in. I think it's sad because we see a family, a real family, and I know that they have become sort of comical, entertaining characters because of the show, and now they're selling their souls again to be on television, and it shows that we are a visual-based economy, and if you look hot enough or if you get pretty enough, if there's an interesting enough before and after photo, then we'll throw our money at you. You'll get our eyeballs, you'll get our attention again, and we'll forget real hurt and trauma that is existing within this family. And I don't know exactly what's going on in the show. Maybe they address this. Maybe there is some healing.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it feels a lot like they got a taste of fame, and it's addictive, and they wanted more. They wanted back in when their show got canceled because they were really hot for a while. It was like Duck Dynasty and Honey Boo Boo.
Well, you
and
also
keeping
say
up with the Kardashians.
when there's also been lawsuits against some of the children, Mama June, like from Anna, and I think one of the other sisters. I know for a fact Anna, where they claim they never received like $300,000 from the payment. So that's an allegation. I don't know the history. I never dug into that part of the case, but that's also a recent allegation that came out too, that they're wondering, even if they do sign on to new series, who's getting paid here? Because it follows Mama June, but then they're all co-characters.
When Dave Chappelle left the Chappelle show and then talked to Oprah about it, he said like, everyone had been telling him that when they're laughing at his jokes, they're laughing the wrong way. And he's like, no, they're laughing because I think it's funny. And then he had this one moment where he heard someone in the audience laugh, like in a way that was like, I am superior to black people because Ashy Larry is ridiculous. And he walked off the set. And that's a very interesting thing for us to ask ourselves is what about Honey Boo Boo are we watching? What about Mama June are we watching? Because that's how we incentivize certain behaviors. So when we watch this, the only thing that I was interested in was finding a picture of the before and after of Mama June.
Right.
And that's incentivizing her celebrity and everything. Now what's gonna happen is she needs to be a certain kind of compelling to get people to keep watching her. Now, what is she gonna do? Is she going to change as a person, or is she gonna tap into the same bag of tricks, which involves like giving her kid go-go juice, which is just like this diabetes bomb? Is because essentially it makes a lot of viewers happy to feel better than these people.
You're absolutely right, and
they're real. So.
And yeah, and I think what's scary too is that, you know, a lot of people have pointed out, even amongst all the celebratory tweets towards her and her before and after picture, people have pointed out that she was really upset when the Duggar scandal happened, because she was like, right when it was happening, she was making announcements and press releases saying their show better get canceled too. Because my show got canceled because of all of the allegations. Their show better get canceled as well. But then it brings it back to this too. Like, do you continue to? She needs psychological help. This is someone that has a lot. You said it. They have a lot of trauma in their family. Her daughter's still suffering from that trauma, and they need help. And instead, people are, you know, celebrating them.
I think I don't know. What would be fantastic for this show?
Sad. It's really sad.
It is sad. Is if they do dive into the story, because Brett, you make a great point. What's going to keep us hooked after the malaise of seeing her with this new body? It's going to weigh on us. So what's going to be the storyline? What's going to be the compelling content that's going to keep us watching the show? And that's why I had asked if they could talk about it, because I know some cases are sealed. You can't talk about it once it's done. So who knows? Maybe WeTV is going to do justice. And
I think they can talk about it. If they talked about it with us after he got out of jail, then therefore you can talk about it.
I watched Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. And I thought they were kind of delightful all together.
Yeah,
I didn't
but there's
see
a
all
lot
this
of dark
But what's weird is, like, we want train wrecks, but there's certain train wrecks we don't want.
No, you don't.
Like, we wanted you to be this kind of, you know, benign mess that we could watch for our enjoyment. But like, it's weird that, like, if we like this kind of benign mess, it's probably gonna result in like this other weird shit that we don't want. So we're holding them to a certain standard that as soon as they like show us the rest of what it takes to create the weirdness we like.
Right, and let's not forget the history. Again, I think that's a good reminder. Let's not forget what's happening still to, I'm sure, Anna.
Yeah,
it's really sad. I can't imagine. So please keep the conversation going, and we'll see you all next time on Pop Trigger.